join us tonight to dissect these issues and the consequence of his what has become a landmark ruling as far as the elections is concerned. He's a right activist and former presidential candidate for the AAC, Mr. Omoyele Showore. Thanks so much, Mr. Showore, for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Did this judgment come to you as a surprise?
Well, it wasn't a surprise because I've been one of the major advocates of party independence. And when we go to meetings with INEC, political parties in Nigeria behave as if they are departments or appendages of INEC. They don't question, they don't even go there with their own proposal as to how they want their parties to be run. And we often fight at these meetings between myself, usually, and so many of the other political parties who likely just endorse and concur with INEC and whatever they're saying. But what is interesting, when we go to these meetings, the big parties don't say a word. The people we call the big party, the APC in particular, they never say a word. Maybe they might, at the end of the meeting, accept to a second emotion to end the meeting. That's what you hear from them, including even when the PDP was still PDP. They never say a word. So I'm glad that one of the major political parties that came with this youth party. But you have to also be very careful. Anything and anytime things work excellently well in Nigeria, I question the motive, especially if it's coming from the judiciary. But what I'm trying to say here is that I've always advocated that parties should completely be in charge of their affairs, and INEC has engaged in what I call, it can't even be regarded as an overreach, but complete disruption of party internal affairs. INEC dictates everything. When you should do your primaries, you should notify them when you want to hold meetings, and you to tell them when you want to have a convention, and they must be there. And if they are not there, you are in trouble. I don't think that INEC should have those powers to, to determine so many of things they determine. But I think political parties in Nigeria emerged from the military, and the military were the last set of people who formed political parties in 1993.
Yeah.
So I think whatever it was, SDP and PDP, NRC in those days just transferred over to the creation of political parties, and the parties didn't do much to build their own base and their independence and integrity.
But I mean, you political party analysts are not the most organized group of people.
No, it's not true.
I mean, and I can give you, I'm not speaking as though I'm passing judgment. I'm just stating the fact.
Yeah, it's not
and you can see, just a moment, you have problems in your party in the past. There are people who are challenging authority of your leadership. And look at what is happening in other political parties.
It's exactly the reason why
a lot of the political parties are in disarray.
Most of the problems created in political parties were created by INEC getting involved in personal affairs of political parties. Our party problem in 2019 was created by INEC. They were the ones who accepted that those who were not part of the party should hold a convention somewhere. They went, certified it, because they claim it came from court. And when we challenged the people who tried to hijack our party, INEC sent senior advocates of Nigeria to come and defend our own party hijackers against those of us who originally set up the party. So INEC has been the one creating most of the problem you see in these political parties. And that is the reason why I'm happy that this judgment came, but I'm kind of worried.
But the implication is going to be massive. Yes. Because the elections are based on schedules and timelines.
So there's an electoral act which states that you should submit your candidates 180 days before election. And if you count from January, whenever this happening, we still have the latitude of up to July ending before we submit election candidates to INEC. But INEC, in its usual overreach, has already said, well, we don't want that to happen. You must give us your candidates. You must conclude everything by the end of May. You get my point? They're not supposed to be dictating to parties. Parties are the ones who are supposed to say, look, we want to dictate to you. This is what is convenient for us.
But the law has said 180. So the timeline is automatic.
It's automatic according to the Electoral
law.
Act.
Yeah.
But INEC has come up with his own
schedule
and
which
timetable.
The judgment, according to Justice Umar, says that INEC's revised timetable and schedule of activities for the election is inconsistent with the Electoral Act.
That's right.
It means that anybody, based on this judgment now, anybody can take this judgment and ignore INEC's timelines.
It's
And
not that that's a law as far as
so INEC's timetable and timeline are insignificant as
they are
it is
not
right now,
significant.
based on this law.
Typically, it's supposed to be the Electoral Act that guides
The benchmark.
The benchmark for not INEC timetables. INEC timetables are administrative in
But
nature.
again,
And let me tell
the
you, let
powers
me
of INEC, just for a moment,
yeah.
the powers of INEC is enshrined in the Constitution. The Constitution has said INEC will conduct the election as it deems fit. It gives the power to INEC to be able to use its discretion,
So what is it?
administrative discretion, to conduct the election.
What is the Electoral Act about then? If INEC can just wake up and conduct election as it must be according to the law. Otherwise, INEC can just decide that the Electoral Act is not necessary. Even I do not subscribe to the overreach of the Electoral Act in terms of conduct of elections. That flexibility is also not there. Well, you know that each time there's an Electoral Act, it is the ruling party speaking to certain deficiencies that almost scared them in the last election. That's what the Electoral Acts are about, because they own the National Assembly and they decide from the National Assembly what to do. And like I said, and I've always said, if they have a problem of qualification, the Electoral Act that will come will handle that for them. If they they almost lost election because of transmission of result, they will use the new Electoral Act to cure that
It appears that every aspect and every important and critical aspect of this election has been altered by this judgment. The withdrawal and replacement of candidates, submission of candidates, party primaries deadlines, the issue of substitution of candidates, the minimum time period given that compels on campaign, which the law says to end in 2 days before election through administrative guideline inconsistent with the law. That's why INEC is saying 2 days before the law. The judgment said no, it can end a day before based on the. So there's a lot that has changed now.
What's the difference between 2 days and 1 day before the election? You know, people campaign even on the day of election. It's just they do it stylistically. You know, people, all those people hanging around the polling units are campaigners. So people are homing into each other's ears, you know, this is my candidate. And everybody understands that election campaigns don't end until elections are over. So that's not the issue. And by the way, IPAC, which is the body of parties, yes, had already written to INEC complaining that this timetable was too tight for them. And INEC ignored them before this judgment came. They had asked for only even 3 weeks of extension of time. Because in between now and when INEC is asking for a deadline, May 30th, for all primaries to be done, we also have Salah in between. So how do you do your election? For instance, our party is doing its primaries on the 26th. Our members have to rush back to Kano or Katsina to go and
does this favor the bigger parties or the smaller parties?
Anything you see that happens at this time, and if it's not challenged, it probably favors there are no big parties now. All parties are equal, but it probably favors the ruling party. And I will ask you to watch out for the fine prints in the next few days.
Do you think INEC could be in trouble because this is going to cost them some, you know?
No, I see. INEC already had a political calendar before the Electoral Act was introduced, and some of what this judgment is saying was what INEC released earlier. It was INEC itself that adjusted the presidential election to January. It was supposed to be February. So they can still go back and push the presidential election to the original date that was supposed to be, that has been in the last few years, so that there will be more space. But they said they want to respect religious sensibilities. And this is part of our problem. You know, the country claims on paper that it's a secular nation. But when in action, every time, you know, we're always pandering to religious activities, holidays, and as if Nigeria is, it's no longer a multi-religious society. What about people who don't go to church, who don't go to mosque?
People like you.
Yes, I don't. I don't do organized religion anymore. But that doesn't mean that I don't have a religion.
But you are a multiple believer.
Yeah,
You go to the river sometimes. You go to
my religion is justice.
You go to
anywhere you get it, I'll go there.
So what's your religion, by the way?
You see, the problem I have is that even those who claim they don't have religion disputing religion. So
you still worship Ogun?
I don't. I don't worship anything. I worship justice. Even if it's a pen that people worship, they have a right to do it. But my position is that it should not be state job.
So Showore is not a Christian.
I was born a Christian. All right.
But
my middle name is Stephen. But I'm not going to be using that to deceive you on TV. Yes.
You are disappointing your parents by not sticking with what they taught you.
My parents are probably happier with me than anybody who's been going to church forever.
All right. Let me ask you.
Yes.
Are you still planning to contest in 2027?
Yes. We have our party
is your party
next week. Yes.
Okay. And you're going to be the sole candidate?
Well, let the party decide who their candidates are. So
how many people registered for your party in the digital registration that INEC asked the parties?
We haven't finally submitted, and that's what this court judgment says. So if you have submitted now, the court says you can reopen your portal and start again. So we never stopped anyway. So until that final moment,
you were recalcitrant. As far as the
you see, our party. The AAC started online registration in 2018 when nobody was doing it. And what happened in 2022, I will reveal to you, and I probably have said this on your they asked every party to submit their party register. We're the only party that could present a complete party register to INEC. INEC confessed to us that all these APC, PDP, they don't have party register. So when they discovered that it was going to be a problem, APC approached INEC to use the National Electoral Register to create their own party membership for them. When I was in Channels in January 2026, talking about registration of our party page, the Channels reporter was challenging me that APC had a website where you could register. When I got home and checked, you couldn't register on their website. It was after I outed them that they then went and opened a section in this website. But I can tell you that even with all the registered people, I don't see how anybody will go on APC's website and register for poverty, starvation, and insecurity. But they have a way of forcing people to register using all kinds of subterfuge. But you still cannot even, they can't even tell you how people are registered on their page.
You plan to run for election again. Is it just as a routine, or what will change?
What is the routine in running for election?
This will be your third time of being on the ballot.
I've been running less than Atiku has run. What else do you want to know?
So you want to... Atiku is your mentor?
No, what I'm saying is that Peter Obi will be running for the third time.
Are those your mentor?
They're not my mentor. I'm just telling you that everybody is entitled to run for as many times.
That's what I'm asking. Is this a routine for you?
It's not a routine. I know what you're trying to say. Yeah. What you're trying to say is what you do all the time. To say that some people are special than others.
No. I'm asking you especially.
We are in
Don't imagine
win.
what I did not say. No. I'm asking you pointedly, and I'm saying that what is changing now in 2027 if Showore is going to be on the ballot? Are you running to win? Or what exactly is your
Yes. And it is because, as I've told you several times, all the political parties are equal. And the better candidates should be able to win elections in this country, people with ideas. And I've said this several times on your show. Stop selling people to Nigerians who don't have ideas, people who don't even come on your show to be interviewed. In 2018, you never interviewed Buhari, but you were always interviewing his people. In 2022, 23, you never interviewed Tinubu. Tinubu never came near this studio. Those of us who come and share ideas with you, vibrant ideas, brilliant people, you keep asking us, is it routine? Is insecurity not routine in this country? Is hunger, poverty, lack of health care, bad roads not routine in this country? People who want to fix it, don't talk down on them.
I'm not talking down on you.
Because you just said it's routine. How's it routine? How's my running for office different from...
Why are you being defensive? I'm asking you a
that's what you think you want to achieve. You can't achieve that with me. I'm not being defensive. I'm answering your question.
You have not answered my question.
No, I said...
Why is this time different from the other times that you have run?
It's different because these are different times also. Times are harder. Nigerians
are you
in
running
bigger
to win
trouble.
this time around?
Yes, I just answered you. See, I'm answering you, and you're not paying attention to me.
Why are you being defensive tonight?
You see, because I answered you, but you ignored me.
Why do you think this time around that your chances are better than the Atikus of this world, the Peter Obis of this world, and Tinubus of this world, and Amechi or Sheyi Makinde?
Because all of the ideas of the people you mentioned brought Nigeria into this cycle of poverty, insecurity, pain, sorrow, and tears. Do you want Nigeria to continue to get these same people elected or selected, or whichever way they get themselves into office, so that they can suffer more, so that those of us who have ideas that can liberate this country will not be listened to by asking us, oh, what are you doing in the presidential election? I mean, need to win. I mean, need to liberate my country. I mean, need to bring poverty,
if there are
peace,
two things
progress.
that you think that you've got as a capacity or an idea, if there are those two things that Nigerians who are watching now to say, okay, maybe I should give Showore a chance in my mind. What would these two ideas have that you think that the others don't have?
I would not reduce myself to two ideas when there are
I'm
multiple
just
ideas.
asking two out of whatever idea that
I'm not going to fall into your trap of asking me to present myself in two ideas. There are multiple ideas. There are multiple agenda. There are multiple ways. There are multiple opportunities that people like me or me, Omoyele Sowore, will bring to bear in this country, and you have a different country the next day after I'm sworn in as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Stop promoting the people who brought Nigeria to its knees.
But you are here, Sowore. Why are you bothered about those who are not even here?
I'm bothered about them
free
because,
of charge.
No.
And you were talking to you, and I'm even asking you about your ideas.
I'm not here free of charge.
And it took you Uber to come here, or your vehicles, or to buy fuel, or to drive yourself. Whichever way you came here,
I'm not here.
You have not been charged one kobo.
No.
Neither have you ever. You've been given chance on Channel Television forever.
If I were to charge you for my ideas, Channel TV will be bankrupted.
Omoyele Sowore, the leader of the AAC and a presidential candidate in the 2023 election. Thanks so much indeed for coming on the program tonight.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. And stop being defensive on my questions anyway, so that you and I will not keep fighting.